Hi there. A few days ago I posted a Bitwig patch that was generating a kick and bass from a single oscillator in order to avoid having to match the phase, the pitch, do the sidechaining and so on, the typical things we have to do in psytrance to make it sound good. Since then I got some questions how it works, whether it could be replicated in other software environments, software synths and so on. So I figured I will make the patch once again live on video for you to maybe take inspiration from. So obviously I'm using Bitwig, so let's add an empty track. We will need some MIDI data. Let's make it very short, 1/4 note. For the pitch we are going to maybe use F0. I think that was what I used before and it sounded well. Okay, we are going to need a device. In my case this is a Polygrid, which is a Bitwig's modular synthesizer. Let's make some housekeeping. It's mono. We will disable the free running of the oscillator when transport isn't running, and we will change the device phase to 1/4 note to match the length of this clip. This simply makes sure that all the let's say sequencers within the grid work on the cycle, which is 1/4 note long. Let's add an oscilloscope, sorry, to see what we are doing. I think 10 Hz is what we need for 140 BPM. Okay, and let's work on the patch. So for now, let's clean it. So here we have output, and we will start with the kick. What we need first, obviously, is an oscillator. And we'll use sine wave. For that, let's space those elements apart. We need some input to the oscillator, so we'll definitely want to take a gate from the sequencer. We will definitely need a pitch. We have to increase modulation. By the way, in Bitwig you can have 10 octaves plus and 10 octaves minus, so that's quite a huge range. And another, by the way, every device in Bitwig, in the grid and outside of it, has a super awesome help window. So if I click a device and see help, I see all the parameters, but what is even better, I can change them, and this is actually the device I have in my chain. So actually what I'm doing here is reflected here. So that's kind of awesome and quite unique as well. And as I said, that works for every device. So oscilloscope, any other synth example. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Okay, so we have a gate, we have a pitch, we will also need phase, and for that we'll use the value knob, which simply gives the value between 0 and 1, and we will color it purple. By the way, you can also see here in the inspector all the inputs and outputs from the device that is currently being selected, which is also very handy for troubleshooting your patches. Okay, so now we have a sine wave. Yeah, now it's correct pitch because the transport wasn't running. Okay. Okay, so in order for the kick to work, we need at least two things. We need to change its pitch and we need to change its volume. So for that we'll need an envelope. The simplest one with attack and decay will be sufficient. So let's first take care of the pitch, and let's maybe keep the kick parts red. So we need gate that will trigger that, and we want that shape of the envelope to modulate our pitch of the oscillator. So we take the cable and go here, but before releasing the mouse we look at the bottom of the screen at our options, and we want to add the signals. So I hold Control, boom, and they are added. So let's hear this now. Sorry. Okay, that starts to sound like a kick. But first of all, we may not always want the full range of the pitch adjustment, which is, as I said, 10 octaves up from that pitch. So let's grab attenuator and let's put it here, and it will simply change the value of the modulation that is going to the pitch. So let's try it again. Yeah, that works. Okay. Now we need another envelope, again of the same variety because it's the easiest one to use. We need gate signal. We need it to be short similarly. And by the way, you can see that we only have attack and decay, but for both of those parameters we have curve shape in the inspector. So that's something for more detailed control. And here we have to pass through the signal to that. Because the transport is running, we already have the signal. Yeah, we don't want. Okay, I guess this is fine for now. We can also work a bit with the phase. Okay, this looks okay, and it's clicky. Right. So we have the kick more or less done. We can also use Bitwig's remote pages, which are available for every device and are automatically accessible via MIDI controllers. We can add a page, let's say for the oscillator. We can add a page for the kick, and let's already add a page the bass part. Okay, and now if we are in the oscillator, we can, for example, access the skew, we can access the fold, and we can access our phase parameters. So we have hands-on control to them. We don't have to even see the window. And for the kick, we have lots more parameters. So let's take attack and decay, and let's also use their slope shapes. Obviously we also need this attenuator, and for amplitude envelope part we will, let's say, only take attack, decay, and decays slope shape. So we have a lot of parameters for the kick. We have parameters for the oscillator, and we will also add some for bass. So now let's work on the bass part. Because our gate signal triggers only the kick, we need another gate signals for the bass itself. So for that we go to the data category and we take gates. We need 4 gates, and let's make a typical pattern. Let's see how it works. As you can see, already gates are working, and as you remember, I said we have to make sure that the gate here is phase length is 1/4 note, because if I made it a bar, then that would work much slower. Oh, it doesn't work at all. Well, okay, 1/4 note is what we need. Anyway, so the baseline, we need to have a parallel signal going there, and it should be going through the filter and through amplitude envelope. So we'll go to the filters, we'll use this Selen key low pass filter. Let's disable key tracking, put down everything, so it will go here. We need an envelope for the volume. Let's use this one again, so we can put it right here so it automatically connects it. Let's feed it with the gate from our sequencer. Let's make a very short attack, it's probably also pretty short release, and that signal has to come from here. And we also need another envelope for the, let's say, filter for the filter cutoff. And let's connect this one here for modulation. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, first of all, the bassline sounds crappy because it's a saw wave, so now it's a bit more similar. Okay, this is good for now. By the way, you can hear the kick coming through, even though we are on only this path, because the amplitude envelope works already on the oscillator here, which we don't have any bassline. Okay, let's maybe paint those things blue. Okay. Okay, so the bassline works pretty well, but now if we would connect the kick, it's a hardcore GABA kick, which we don't like for psytrance. So we have to go back to the sine wave here. So what should we do for the bassline to have the saw wave and for the kick to have a sine wave? So again, we go into the data category, sorry, not this one. We take the steps, we change it to 4 steps. Let's paint something like this, and now we'll use this modulation to move the skew, and let's see now. Okay, now we only hear the kick, so we have to match those signals. So we take the bassline, look at the bottom again, we want to mix them now, not add them, we want to mix them. So I hold Alt key and I have a pretty nice mixer. is some volume modulation for those notes. It's usually the first note in the sequence is quieter, so we will use our attenuator again. Let's put it here. Let's have it at 0 and use that to attenuate the signal. Okay, so you see the first note is now smaller. Not only is it more sine-like, but it's also less tall. We can also work with the base of that to reduce these clicks at the front, or maybe make them more pronounced if we want. Let's bring back the kick. Okay, so you know, this bassline won't win any awards, but it's pretty nice, and we have a lot of control over it. Some weird click disappeared here. It's a phase issue. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And as you can see, the phase correlation is great. You don't need any sidechaining. You don't need to match the phase because it's the same oscillator. And you can always, you know, have all the parameters available here for your kick or for your oscillator. One thing you can also obviously do is you can add some additional processing. So for example, wave folder for the kick. Maybe something like that. Maybe some kind of distortion for the bassline. And so on. You know, the possibilities are endless. And once you have your kick, you can, say, bounce it to audio. By the way, I still have a MIDI here. That's one of the great Bitwig things. Okay, so thank you.